everybody. We've talked about whether education savings accounts are good for the students who use them, and we've talked about whether ESAs are good for public schools and the kids who stay there. And the answer to both of those questions was, we're not 100% sure, and it depends. Which makes our third question, how will we know if ESAs are working for our students in Texas? An extremely important question. Advocates for ESAs and other school choice mechanisms are going to argue that the parent is the party that matters here. The parent is ultimately responsible for their child's education, and it's their right to educate their child as they please. The parent will hold the education provider of their choice accountable, and if the parent is not satisfied with the provider they've chosen, they will withdraw their child and go elsewhere. I think that's fine. I don't disagree with that. And I certainly would want any school, public or private, to provide clear information about students' progress and their well-being to parents so they can make sure their child is being served well. That's fine, no argument there. But when we're talking about public dollars, which come from taxpayers, the individual parent cannot be the only party to whom accountability matters. Again, our state government has a constitutional obligation to ensure its entire population has access to an adequate education. So if our government is going to choose to outsource that function to private providers by allowing public dollars to flow in that direction, our state is responsible for ensuring that those private providers are carrying out their end of the deal. So here's just a quick rundown of the ways in which public schools are held accountable to the public. And this is courtesy of Raise Your Hand Texas, which put this list together. So one, public schools are required to serve any and all students who come to them. They have to comply with federal protections for students with disabilities. They have to administer and publicly report on results of an annual academic assessment that's aligned with the state curriculum. They have to publicly report on where their money comes from and how they're spending it. And if they perform poorly for multiple years in a row, they have to come under state management or be closed. Now, I'm not proposing a world in which private schools are regulated in exactly the same way as public schools. That would kind of defeat the purpose. But if we're going to set up education savings accounts with public dollars, I'm not satisfied with just knowing that parents are happy with the schools they've chosen for their kids. That's great for them. But I want to know that those children are receiving some kind of basic foundational education that will allow them to participate fully in our society and our economy. And if I can't get reassurance that that's happening, I would rather my tax dollars stay in the public school system, which does answer to my state and local elected representatives. So as we look at any ESA policies making their way through the legislature this session, we need to be asking, how will our government make sure our funds are being used effectively and ethically, and that the students who use these education savings accounts really are receiving an adequate education? If the answer is I don't know, or it won't, the policy isn't right for us.